All right, guys, Economic Ninja here. So we got a story that's just hitting in the last 24 hours. It's entitled Snow Blankets At Least 33 Cities in Brazil. Agriculture Expected to Be Hit. Now, we've talked about the recent events in Brazil where we've had just amazingly different weather, right? This isn't normal. This isn't, 1 or 2 years. This doesn't happen every year, right? Where we have below freezing temperatures, not even below freezing, below zero, right? That are killing crops like crazy. So right now, we've seen extreme heats in the US that are killing crops, and we're talking literally in the last 2 to 3 weeks, okay? So it's not hitting your mainstream media right now. It's gonna be once the crop report comes out, and it's gonna be devastating, okay? So I'm bringing you news that you're not seeing right now, okay? It says due to its expected effects on agriculture, sugar and coffee prices rose already. It snowed for the first time in 64 years in Brazil due to a polar air mass traveling towards the country's subtropical center, south, according to Business Insider. All right, now think about that. I want people to realize that. And I don't care what country you're in right now, you're going to be affected. And this is why. First off, in America, I go to the grocery store, I look in the produce section, most produce comes from a different country. It sounds crazy, even though that produce is grown in America, that stuff that's grown in America is sent to another country. That's how it works. I don't want to get into that. That's a whole nother issue. And trust me, there's a day soon that I'm going to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. You're going to find that out one of these days. When we hear the term, I'm like right now, 7 years, we hear these 7-year cycles, right? Where Brazil hasn't had this kind of cold snap in X amount of years. It hasn't seen coffee rise in 7 years, things like that, right? This is 64 years since snow has hit this region, and it's very devastating. 1 day of snow, 1 day of freezing in one of these regions will kill an entire crop, especially because it comes unaware, it comes fast. So these growers don't have time to go out and get smudge pots, get fans and things like that. And let me explain this too. When you're talking about a region that doesn't see snow ever, right? 64 years is ever. That's just, if you think, no, every 64 years people should be prepared, and you can't even get human beings to understand a real estate cycle happens every 7 to 10 years, then 64 years is forever, okay? Hopefully people get that point. That means that they just can't go out and get smudge pots and fans, because why would anyone have them, right? So they don't even have time to react. So it snowed for the first time in 64 years. Here's a quote. I am 62 years old and have never seen snow. To see nature's beauty is something indescribable, said truck driver Idor Goncalves. He was telling somebody that he'd just never seen snow, right? But it wasn't all good news. In the state of Rio Grande do Sul, the snow put agriculture at risk. This meant coffee, sugarcane, orange crops were all threatened. Now, we have already seen all three of those start to rise on the stock market, and it's going to get worse. Not only are you going to see these future prices climb, you're going to see a lot of speculators move in, quite possibly, and run the prices up too. So you have two effects here. You have massive inflation that looks like it's coming in certain food commodities because of the weather. Then you're going to have actual shortages because there's no crops to yield to be able to sell into the market. It's two totally different dynamics. The costs of goods in the near future are going to rise drastically, and then they're going to go really stupid high because there's just none left. So whatever's on the shelves are on the shelves. So I wanted to share that story with you. I think it's big news. I think people need to understand how big of a deal this is. There's snow in Brazil, and it's going to affect the food supply. And even if you're not in this country, it's going to affect the price. In that country, it's going to affect the price where you are because the futures are going up. All right, guys, with that being said, I thank you so much for your time. The Economic Ninja is out.